Our friends in the insurance industry. In an era of record wildfires, insurers have made fire coverage unaffordable. Hi, Darlene.
Fire coverage.
Fire coverage. Can you believe this? California's insurance commissioner, let's
That's
make this bigger,
ridiculous.
right? So, like,
Nope.
you need to have it. Nope, didn't blow up. Okay.
But you can't afford it. Yeah, we had the same problem where I
Flood
was too. Not
insurance
not
and
with
hurricane
fire, but
insurance down in Florida.
yeah.
Sasha Abramsky,
Yep.
Truthout. I want to shout out to Sasha Abramsky, excellent writer as well. Consistently good work. So last week, Ricardo Lara announced they'd stop insurance companies from dropping customers' fire coverage in areas hit by the wildfires infernos for 1 year. Built on a regulatory
Jesus.
change the commissioner pushed for early this year to allow consumers to see their fire insurance risk scores assigned to them by insurers, and then to force insurers to improve the scores of homeowners who undertake fire mitigation strategies on their properties. Wow.
Oh, okay.
Well, they should.
With what? What?
Well,
Yeah.
right.
Like we're gonna put fire like sprinklers outside in case of a forest fire. Like, okay, you know, like what?
The moratorium will give
Anyway,
roughly 325,000 homeowners spread across fire-hit regions of 22 counties a temporary reprieve from what has been an annual nightmare in much of California, finding insurers willing to cover property in parts of the state increasingly vulnerable to fires as the region becomes the global epicenter of climate change impacts. Of course it does. California is burning right now. Ain't no sprinkler going to stop those forest fires. You bet. You bet. Absolutely, darling.
yep.
Moratorium alone, the risk score regulations, while providing breathing space, won't fix a near broken insurance system that's increasingly unable to financially navigate the climate change world and more frequent intense fires, floods, droughts, and hurricanes, of course, throughout California and indeed much of the American West. Homeowners are struggling not only to find companies willing to insure them against fire, but to find companies willing to do so at an affordable rate. So here, upwards of 235,000 homeowners lost their fire insurance coverage after their insurers refused to renew their policies, with a more than 30% increase on non-renewals for homeowners compared to the previous year. So insurers are trying to get out of this business because it's not profitable for them anymore. Everybody's
Yep.
losing their homes, putting in all kinds of claims, and the insurance companies are like, wait, we're not going to get that much in premiums. So the numbers haven't yet been released for 2020. Given that more than 4 million acres of California land unburned during epic fires in recent years, it's likely the pattern of non-renewals has intensified. Up and down the Sierra Nevada and the range's western foothills, yep, always follow the money. Entire communities either become involuntarily uninsured or face staggering premium cost increases. Many businesses, especially in wine
Which
country,
then
found themselves
then
shunned.
you're
Yeah,
left with just what FEMA is going to provide you or whatever,
yep. And then
after your
Californians
home is gone.
are falling back on the FAIR plan insurance pool, a last ditch fire insurance plan option that costs a lot, comes with high deductibles, but is at least a little better than nothing. Wow. That's like the best that we got.
Yep.
Not everyone who loses private insurance qualifies. Gavin Newsom signed a bill intended to address the problem. Wineries were reclassified by FAIR as agricultural entities, a designation designed um, to exclude them from FAIR plan eligibility.
Mm.
The plan wasn't designed to cover the risk of a fire taking out large tracts of land. Even today, with the new legislation, crops and farm animal losses are still excluded from coverage.
Does Gavin Newsom own any rights to any vineyards?
Hmm.
That's what I want to know. You know,
Well,
got to, right?
all the donors from the wine cave certainly do.
Yeah, for sure.
They
Wine
can't
cave.
afford the high premiums required, of course, and then living in, you know, as a result, Californians have been living, a lot of them have been left in limbo. And for the lucky ones who still do have fire insurance, sometimes as a result of insurers using AI systems to calculate which properties are insurable even in high-risk fire zones. Bills have skyrocketed in recent years, in some cases by upwards of 300%, meaning that many homeowners in California's mountains and foothills are now paying more for fire insurance than they are for property taxes. Well,
Jesus.
even in the FAIR plan, which is intended as something of a safety net, even that has seen enormous year-on-year premium increases. Why? Well, because fighting fire and paying out people who lose their home to fire is expensive.
Yep. Because usually it's all gone. It's
So,
not repairable.
well, here there was a law that was on the books potentially, or that was being proposed, but in the end, the legislative clock wound down without the bill being passed and signed into law. So I'm not even going to read what this is. It didn't pass. But there is a better option for 2 years now. They pushed bills. Progressive legislators have pushed bills in Sacramento that would require insurance companies to provide coverage, so long as homeowners make a good faith effort to harden their properties against fire. Those same 2 years, however, the insurance industry has pushed back against the proposals. Okay, so California legislators must get behind these and other efforts to mandate insurers keep their customers affordably insured. Yeah. Well, if they don't, then they're going to go out of business also from not having any customers.
Right.
In our brutal climate change emergencies, if insurance companies genuinely can't stay solvent while maintaining reasonably priced coverage in fire zones, then the state ought to set up a subsidy system to both protect homeowners and also keep insurers afloat. It is, after all, a social good to maintain insurance protections that serve as a buffer against destitution for millions of people, especially in an area where billion-dollar disasters, be they wildfires or hurricanes or floods, are becoming the norm rather than the exception.
Yep. And that's what's going on here in Florida. Like
Mm-hmm.
our flood insurance, particularly when I lived in Live Oak, which is a flood basin of Florida, right? 3 rivers go into it. So any hurricane that comes in is just gonna, like, we had our house was, we had, I think, 4 foot of water in the house when it flooded, and like nothing from
Wow.
insurance. Like,
Wow.
I mean, and it was just like, and then when that happened, it was like our insurance went up through the roof afterwards. You know, like all they did was like they got us like new flooring, and like I think we had to replace the walls, and like uh
Man.
and they like sent out guys to like dry the floors like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that was it.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
like we
they'll
couldn't
send.
afford flood insurance
That's a racket in itself, probably.
after
That that
that.
that Nation Dry. What are they called? Surf Pro. They do great work. When we
Yeah,
had a flood, they came in, they cleaned that
yeah,
place out. They set up all the blowers. They got everything done. We never
blowers.
had to pay out a
Yep.
dime on that. The insurance company covered everything. It's all covered. Um, I did want to
But yeah, it
indicate,
was it was bad.
the consumer rights organization Consumer Watchdog has argued that insurers ought to be legally required to provide insurance services throughout the entire state rather than cherry picking which regions they insure in order to be
Yep.
allowed to do business in California. That sounds fair. But the breakdown of the fire insurance system is a red flag warning about the global vulnerability of insurance markets and their customers as climate change intensifies and as extreme weather events become the new norm. Dropping hundreds of thousands of homeowners' fire insurance policies as a way to maintain short-term profits is, in the long run, deeply counterproductive. It undermines the viability of communities, puts huge numbers of people at risk of homelessness and destitution in the event of fire spreading into their communities. That might protect insurers' bottom lines, but it sure as hell doesn't protect ordinary people as they try to survive in a world made inhospitable by global warming. Yep.
Right.
Copyright Sasha Abramsky, Truthout, freelance journalist, eating the middle class homeowners alive. Yep. And he's published in The Nation, Atlantic Monthly, New York Magazine, Rolling Stone. He published everywhere and does write a weekly column. British by nature, lives in Sacramento. So this is personal to him.
Right.
I enjoy his work quite a bit.